Viva Las Vegas! Welcome to the show, everybody. This is an elated Eagles fan, and when I say elated, I'm just meaning because I'm looking at life in a positive manner. Listen, the Philadelphia Eagles are not necessarily a football team that you, as a fan, or anybody out there as a pundit can say can go out and win the Super Bowl with conviction. You can't do it. There has been no proof that this team can do it. But, the one thing you can say about this football team is that they're better than the Las Vegas Raiders, right? I know, I think so. I think most people think so. I think Vegas thinks so. However, the Philadelphia Eagles also have proven in the last 2 years, despite winning the Super Bowl just a year ago, that they could have an epic collapse like we saw in 2023. And that's what's at stake right now in the city of brotherly love. This football team has no idea how to play like they're the top dog. We said it on the last episode here. They got no clue how to do it. And we have just lost 3 straight football games as a team. The Dallas Cowboys, we were up 21-0. 24 unanswered points, they score. The Chicago Bears, they run 281 yards on the ground on this defense with Jalen Carter and the crew. Took an L. Against the Chargers, Jalen Hurts has his worst game of his career in the 5 turnovers that he ended up having. Now, I looked at that game. I watched the tape. It's not very good by any means. However, I also watched tape that Nick Foles broke down on the game. I also saw tape that Kurt Warner broke down on the game. And it made me feel a little bit better about the byproduct of that game. There's still some work to be done with the quarterback, and there's no doubt about it, and he deserves every ounce of criticism that he's getting. Does he deserve the act of being benched? I don't believe he's going to get benched. However, in that stint, in that 3-game stretch, it was really tough not to at least suggest, hey, at the very end of the game, if you're not in it, you got to at least, look at Tanner, right? But we're not going to be here to stir that controversy up because I think it's clear that Jalen Hurts, at least for this season, has to be able to finish it out. You just won a Lombardi trophy with the guy. You can't think about benching him unless a slide of epic proportions occurs. And that's exactly what's at stake against this Las Vegas Raiders football team. And we're going to talk about why I think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to win this game, but come hell or high water, they're going to win this game. But before I do that, I got to introduce you to the show. This is the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. I'm your host, Asif Badi, and like you, I am a Birds fan who talks about the Birds, only the Birds, and nothing but the Philadelphia Eagles. So please do us a favor here. Help us grow this channel organically by shooting this video a thumbs up, commenting your thoughts in the comments section below, and subscribing to the channel. Also, check us out on audio platforms such as Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and leave a 5-star review because in the end, it doesn't cost you a damn thing to go ahead and hit subscribe. We appreciate your support on the opposite side of the camera and on the opposite side of the airwaves. Now, listen, the Las Vegas Raiders game and the Philadelphia Eagles, this is going to be a game where Philadelphia has to show up. They have to perform at home against the 2-11 Raiders. You're favored at 11.5. You got to absolutely give a shellacking to a team that's got no hope. What a moribund franchise they are. This is the perfect game for the Philadelphia Eagles to show whether or not they are a team that can stand up in the face of adversity. Or will they wither? Will they stumble? Will they bumble? Will they fall? All of these things can occur in the Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts era. We've seen it. We've seen them look like the best team in the NFL as they were last season. We saw it in 2022 where they looked absolutely phenomenal. And then we saw 2023 where they look like they can't figure out what side of the football to fucking drive towards. I don't even know if that's even a saying. They didn't even know what they were doing on offense. They couldn't tell an ass from their freaking cleat. They had no idea. In this past 3-game stretch, the offense has been putrid, anemic, running through the mud. And that's just to put it kindly. This Las Vegas Raiders team is so bad as a unit this year. A loss to them in any fashion. In any fashion. I don't care if it's by a point. You cannot lose to the Look, I'm calling them the Oakland Raiders. You cannot lose to the Las Vegas Raiders. There's no analysis per se in this episode other than the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles on every single level of the team are just better. They're just better flat out. And if somehow this team loses to the Raiders, there is going to be some damn changes. Hell will be let free in Philadelphia. Houses will be burnt down. Like this is not going to be good if Philadelphia comes out and loses to the Raiders. You can't do it. There's no excuse. They have Kenny Pickett back there who's going to throw the ball, who, by the way, is an upgrade from what Geno Smith was this year because he was terrible. Philadelphia Eagle fans want to talk about a bad quarterback. Look at no further than Geno Smith. He's a bad quarterback. They got one guy on offense that you have to worry about in Brock Bowers, who's a superstar. Other than that, everybody else is not having a great year. You can't sleep on Ashton Genty. You can't sleep on Trey Tucker, but Brock Bowers is the guy. And then on defense, it's Max Crosby. Devin White's playing well, but you know what? That's not a defense that you look at and say to yourself, yeah, I'm scared of guys on the opposite side of the ball here. Yeah, we respect Thomas Booker. We respect Max Crosby. We respect Devin White because he's having 70 tackles on the year. But again, it's not a football team that you look at and say they're going to be, stifling this offense. Although I will say this, it wouldn't shock me if somehow the Oakland and the Las Vegas Raiders cover the points. I mean, the offense is just that anemic. Whether it comes down to play calling or the quarterback execution or the player execution, I am not here to decipher that. I am not here to decide that. I will do that probably in another episode at some point because I think it's all the above. I think really none of these things fit together. And that's what's leading to a lot of the disarray here. But that's neither here nor there. There's no track record outside of the Giants game and the Vikings game that shows that this passing offense can be consistent enough to go ahead and execute against a team like the Raiders. There's no suggestion this year that the running game is somehow going to be found except for the Giants game and except for the Chargers game last week. There's no indication that we can sit here as a team, as a fan base, to justify in saying that this offense will get right against the Raiders, because I have no idea if it will. All I know is that this team will somehow do enough to beat the Raiders. I'm not picking points. I'm picking straight money line. And I'm putting, this is what I do. Every Sunday, I put money down on these things. I pick the points against the Cowboys. I pick the points against the Bears. And I picked the Chargers to win last week. So I've been right 3 in a row. Let's make it right 4 in a row by having a get-right game against the Raiders. Philadelphia is going to win this game flat out because they, quite frankly, no matter how bad you think the Eagles are, they're just flat out better than the Raiders. They got the better quarterback, despite the fact that Eagle fans are questioning whether or not the guy can play. I am not there. I think the guy can play. He's had a really bad stretch and not playing excellent this year, but he's still the starting quarterback, was an MVP of the Super Bowl just a year ago. And quite frankly, if you count total touchdowns this year, he's number 4 in the league. So the guy isn't awful. He's not playing excellent, by any means, and I can't justify him being a top 5 quarterback. I can't. He's got the resume of one, doesn't have the play right now to say that. The running game is putrid, but it's the Raiders. They stink. If you can't run the ball on the Raiders, you're not running the ball on anybody. They can't cover. The corners are not going to be able to cover the wide receiver. But again, you don't know if the quarterback's going to be able to execute, so that's up in the air. I don't know if it's a first-time coordinator on the defensive side for the Raiders versus a first-time coordinator for the Eagles with Kevin Patullo. But again, he's gotten better and better every week. I don't think he's great, but he's certainly gotten better. Sirianni and Pete Carroll, while I think overall, as a totality of a career, Pete Carroll obviously is better than Nick Sirianni. At least right now, you got to say Sirianni's got the edge. Although Pete Carroll is a damn good coach, and I don't think the Raiders' job is a reflection of what he can actually do. Everything points to the Eagles. You're at home. You're the favorite. You're the better football team with a better quarterback, with a better head coach, with a better roster, with a better running. I mean, everything is suggesting you are better than the Raiders. But you cannot blame us fans, us Eagle fans, sitting here and thinking to ourselves, wouldn't shock us if we lost to the Raiders. Wouldn't shock me at all. Because that's how bad that they've been playing. And that's what makes this team such a freaking enigma. How on earth are you the Superbowl champions? And by week to week, nobody knows what team you're getting. No one knows. I don't know. Although, to be fair, I have known the past 3 weeks. 3 weeks, rather. 3 weeks. Nobody knows or nobody understands what this team is. I'll tell you what they are right now. Because this team, the way I describe them, is exactly how they've played all season long. This is a football team that's a front-running, showboating, non-adversity having ass team. They are comfortable. They are a team that you look at and you say to yourself, this is a bunch of pretty boys, because that's how they play. The quarterback in particular. Saquon Barkley doesn't want to get hit. Accusation of Jalen Hurts not wanting to get hit because he's not running the ball as much. You saw what happened with the hospital ball last week against the Chargers, albeit A.J. Brown. You got to catch that damn thing. He ain't trying to get hit over the middle. Last season, we were the toughest team in football. This year, we're the complete opposite. On defense, guys can't stop the run. We can't tackle. The quarterbacks can't cover. Now, Vic Fangio and the rest of the defense is playing in their coverage as well, and they're holding teams to points, okay? Like, they are really not letting teams score on them, but they're running up and down and driving up and down all over them, right? It's not a team you look at and say, this is a tough team. It's not. We're not that anymore. We're a talented team. A front-running team, a team that when things are going well, we can run roughshod on anybody. I mean anybody. We've seen it this past season. You've seen it against the second half against the Rams. You've seen it with the Bucs game. You've seen it with the Vikings. You saw it with the Giants. You've seen it even against the Cowboys when we were up 21-0. You saw it against the Broncos when we were up 18-0. Like, we could hang with anybody when we're executing. Because that's how talented this roster is. However, just as good as this team can be, it could also be the worst product in the NFL. Even worse than the Raiders. And you saw it against the Broncos. You saw it against the Rams. You saw it against the Bucs. You saw it against the Giants. You saw it against the Cowboys. You saw it against the Bears. And last week, you saw it with the Chargers. And again, plenty of instances where we have quality wins. Week 1, Cowboys, Chiefs, Rams, Bucs, Lions, Packers, Vikings, Giants. And then you also have putrid losses. the Bears, the Giants, the Cowboys, the Chargers. Jeez, man. This team is a subpar team. Front-running team that's got ultra talent, and that when things are even, their talent is just what wins you the game. They're not doing anything special. They're not out scheming you. They have no identity. They have no idea who they are. That's a reflection of the quarterback and a reflection of the head coach. And quite frankly, with this particular team, with this Philadelphia Eagles team, because this is how they operate, it's a reflection of the front office and the owner and the GM, because that's how they do business, because they get the credit when they win. They also should deserve the credit when you lose as bad as you're losing to, because quite frankly, when they meddle in football operations and it's a success, we praise them to the high heavens. That means they also meddle when things go bad and they don't know what they're doing when they're losing. The only answer that they have is to blame somebody and get them out the building. That's what they do. So this Raiders game on Sunday, the 11.5-point favorite, Philadelphia Eagles at home. The 8-5 Philadelphia Eagles at home. The former Super Bowl champions, 8-5 Eagles at home, 11.5-point favorite against the Las Vegas Raiders. This is a game you must win. You must win this game, because if you don't, heads are going to roll. Changes will be made. And quite frankly, I'm a supporter of Jalen Hurts and I'm a supporter of this team. And quite frankly, I don't think he should be benched, but you can't lose 4 straight. You can't lose to the Raiders. That would be the last straw. At least then you have to say to yourself, well, shit, we might have a problem in Philadelphia with our coach and our quarterback. Because quite frankly, this ain't going to cut it with the roster that we got. But again, giving you a lot of push-pull methods here. I believe we're going to win this game. I'm picking the Eagles to win out flat out. Well, I can't even speak. I'm picking the Eagles to flat out win this game because we're just better than the Raiders. And if this team's going to go 3-and-out on their first drive. It's what they're going to do. You're going to hear the boos. It's what's going to happen. And then that team's going to have a question to ask themselves. Are we tough enough to fight through this adversity and score and have some pride? Or are they going to fold like a cheap tent? I'm leaning towards the fact that this team has some pride. There's too many good players on this football team to not have pride. Will I pick a score? No. Because I quite frankly don't know what to expect from this Philadelphia Eagles offense. If I expect a functioning offense, we should beat them by the 11.5, but we're not. Philadelphia Eagles are going to win. The Raiders are probably going to cover with Kenny Pickett because it's an upgrade at quarterback. You know, I would say this team is going to win 24-14, maybe 24-17. I think they'll be in control the whole game. It's too good of a football team, and it's too bad of a football team of the Raiders. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Not much analysis in this game other than the fact it's just me ranting and saying that we're better than the Raiders. And this is no disrespect to the Las Vegas Raider fans because they're a proud fan bunch, and they've been through a lot of shit for no reason because it's a good fan base, and they deserve better. But quite frankly, the team's just not very good, and you're in a process of trying to rebuild a roster here. And Philadelphia, I don't believe, is capable this season of losing 4 straight. I just don't believe it. 3 straight's one thing. 4 straight, it's a catastrophe. And quite frankly, the game that Jalen Hurts just played, I refuse to believe that he, as a man, as a person, as an individual, will flat out just go out and play just as poorly. It ain't going to happen. I think he has too much pride for that. And I think this coaching staff and this offensive lineman and the wide receiver room, they have too much pride to go out and play the way they did last week. So again, Phillies winning this game. That's my thoughts. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and we'll see you back here next time for the next episode of the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. Go Birds.
Hey. Thank you so much for watching the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast. If you want to continue to support the channel, please hit the like and subscribe button down below. Also, check us out on Instagram and TikTok at Riding the Bench Eagles Pod. We're also on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, you name it, we're on there. Thank you so much for listening, and please join us next time here at the Riding the Bench Eagles podcast.